Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to continue our work today on starting a level import in Unreal from Descent, but our IDE is being obnoxious. So we'll see. Tried to load up our project and it stopped responding. On the plus side, I know what went wrong last time that we were looking at, last night when we were looking at this project. The system, or rather we got it set up so it would load in a file, and it loaded in with the wrong signature, and we weren't certain why that was or what exactly happened there, and that's kind of where we left off. And I know why that was. We were pointing it at a hog file, not a level file. At least I think we were. I don't remember changing that. So writer caches or indexes and caches the entire project, which means that things are going to be a little bit slow to start with. But let's go ahead and so let's just go ahead and let it work for a little bit. It's actually being responsive. Let's go ahead and make sure that we don't have any. Okay, we do have some things here that we need to fix. So it looks like we're going to have to bring in, we're going to have to define some constants here. So this is just a bunch of extra stuff I brought in while we were waiting for Unreal to compile, and that's not going to be terribly difficult to add. We need to bring in a few different types here, a few different constants. It shouldn't be terribly difficult. So let's do that. UE5. Sounds like for global variables, we'll want to put in our game instance. I'm trying to remember if our game instance is a C++. It is not. Okay. So we'll just drop it locally for now. Whoops. Here we go. Max sides per segment. Max vertices per segment. Okay, great. And then huh, that surprises me. Whoa. He was doing this last time. I don't know what's going on here. What if I highlight? Okay. You bite and oh, put these all at the top here. Okay. And then UVL, I believe is a struct, as is VMX vector. Yep. Oh. Alrighty then. Is that what that means? No, it's not what that means. Okay. So this should now compile, if I'm understanding everything correctly. And we can get on with looking into our Unreal stuff. We can probably get rid of all the type defs here. I think it's all just a C thing. Yeah. Except for maybe up here. That's probably important. Alright, we can get rid of this. And this. Whoa. Apparently we have to get rid of all that. No matching conversion for functional style. Yeah. What happened here? Oh yeah, this didn't do what we were expecting it to, so we were thinking about fixing that. Good build. Let's get started. Um, hmm. Uh, I'm not sure we like standard string that much, but thanks, dude. That was a fast start of Unreal. Not that I'm complaining much, but I was expecting me reading that article for another 10 minutes. All right. So if we look at our graph here, we can see that we're pointing at the hog file. No wonder our import doesn't work. So let's change this to whoops, what did I just do? Hello? Okay, that was weird. And then this is going to be level 01 dot RTL? RDL. DL. Yep. Just like so. Save and compile this and go ahead and run this for me, and then we'll see what we get. Boom. That's it. That's it. Except we're returning a number, not a string. But I'm not sure we care. Okay. Version 1, offset 20. Great. That's exactly what we were looking for. So now we need to figure out what to do with that information. Now, as we saw, in preparation for what to do with that information, I've been getting a bunch of structs set up in here because we're going to need them, I think. But let's see here. So we'll need the mine file info at the very least, and probably the segments on the sides. So I've been trying to debate if I want a there's no fmine struct in Descent. This doesn't exist. So I suppose kind of the starting thing here is going to be, let's go ahead and rename these to fmine and all around. So just let's get us on the standard naming convention. All right, now we're on the standard naming convention, more or less. I'm actually kind of wondering if I do want a standard naming convention. Why do you think we're missing a... What's this? Okay. Why does it think I'm missing a semicolon? Very odd. I'm actually wondering if the all the structs from descent should be changed, because if I change them, well, I think it's fine. Okay. So the question is, do I want an fmine struct here, right? That I place all of the mine data into, right? So this would just be like, I am so confused as to what's happening. Okay. This would just be like segments, you know, a segments array or segment array, segments kind of thing, right? Do I want to do this? Or do I want to do something a little bit more a little bit differently? Like, do I want to put all the segments in this, or do I want my fmine to be just a Unreal static mesh inside of here? I think I want it to be an Unreal static mesh. We'll build it out from there, but we'll figure that out for certain in a minute here. Let me go ahead and pull open my documentation here, make sure I am looking at the right function type. All right. Oh, excuse me. So f raw mesh meshes. Right? See, this is why changing this doesn't necessarily make a bunch of sense. You know, these are fine, they're not objects. These need to be the same. Okay. Um, and of course, we're going to need to include raw mesh. Decomposition declaration not allowed in this context. What if I give it a specific number? Apparently like that. That's why. Why C++? Why would you do that? We're an array of FROSH meshes, not in. Oh my word. Okay. Right, so we need an array of meshes, we need an array of textures, we need an array of other things too, right? But for now, we're just an array of meshes. Okay. So, next up, we need to clean some stuff up. Okay. And we need a new function that's going to be a mine. And it's going to import mine. And we're going to pass it file reader, I think. But that creates a copy, right? I want to do it this way. I want to create a reference to it. If I recall my... If I recall correctly. So, let's go ahead and start the implementation. All right. And if I go and call it, can I just cannot call non-static member function without an object argument? I don't know what that means. I think we can static this. So let's do that instead. Okay. All right, what does importing mine consist of? Well, it is going to consist of I believe it's going to be load mine data compiled. Um, okay, I believe it is this one. All right. And I'm confused as to whether I'm supposed to be using this one or mine data compiled new. I think I'd use this one, but okay, we load a byte. Let's see here, we load the version, the vertices, the segments. Okay. And then we assume a starting point. Okay, then we load the vertices. Then we load the segments, and we just load them in order. Okay. Seems doable. I'm gonna pull this on the other screen here. Okay, we start by okay. Okay. Let's do this. All right. So we're just going to use the file reader, serialize. And what's our serialize? Oh, interesting. Okay. Uh, whoops. Okay, it doesn't like that. What doesn't like that? Oh, can't be a constant. That actually makes a ton of sense. Great. Okay, so we're going to get the version, and then we're going to get the number of vertices and the number of segments. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Huh. That's weird. Okay, so they're doing is seeking here, and then so I don't think that makes any sense. Um, what is mine offset? Is mine offset an integer? Yeah. I should actually do start. So before we do anything, we want to um, move the file reader to the start of our mine data, right? And then yeah, okay. Then we can go ahead and serialize the number of vertices and the number of segments, like so. Mm-hmm. Like so. Uh, Seems simple enough. Now comes the hard part. So first off, I need to look up K. I'm looking up if there's a way to read in to repeat serialize. So so in the C code, they've got it set up so that they have the variable they're putting something into, the size of the thing that they're reading in, the number of times they want to read it in, and the file they're reading it in from. And I'm looking for, and the Unreal version doesn't have the number of times to read it in. And that's easy enough to do in a for loop or something like that. But I was just checking to see if they had it available as an optional parameter. So I don't know what loops are available to me. So oh, and this is where things get weird. Okay. No, it isn't. Um, I think this is right, if I'm reading this correctly. This means for the vertex in vertices. Yeah. For the vertex and vertices, file reader. The thing is, I don't understand. I don't know if this is a reference or not. We'll just find out. Serialize. Um, vertex. Alright, so each of the vertices, we're going to serialize the vertex. Now, interestingly enough, the original C code does not serialize the segments in the same way, which is very interesting. So we aren't going to get to that yet. Instead, I just want to log that we got our vertices. Okay. So Strings always make the least sense to me here, so we'll see how this goes. It's not unhappy with it. I don't know if this is actually the last vertex, but we're going to do -1 to be safe. We didn't get a ray.length, so it should be the second to last vertex, actually, so. Rebuild. And we just want to run the utility widget again and see what we get logged down here after this rebuild. Well, it is taking its sweet time to rebuild. That's usually not a good sign. Right. Oh, right. Do I actually want it to return anything? Kind of starting to think I want side effects here. Just want to save the assets. We'll see. Error. Static expression assertion failed. F expects float or double. Flexible array member with non-trivial destruction. That makes sense. Okay, so what we're going to do to start with, because we don't actually care about this yet, we're going to remove our return, switch this to void. Oops. Void. Switch this to void. Switch this to nothing. And switch this to nothing as well. Where's our mine? Yeah, get rid of the mine. Too early for that. Look, what are we looking at? VMS vector. Okay. VMX vector is not a float, it's an int, essentially. But there is a way to convert fixes to floats. So What? I don't even know if this works in C++. But didn't yell at me for any of it, so okay. Um, so now we go over here and we're going to do fix to float for each of these. Which will hopefully clean this up. Oop. Start rebuilding again. What just happened? Could not find a function named import mine. That's it? Okay. What are you talking about? Called. Why couldn't you find the function? What line are we talking about? Log blueprint. Okay. Oh. Well, that's not good. Segmentation fault. Import mine line 66. Is that what I'm reading correctly? For VMS vector vertex in vertices. File reader.serialize. Okay. Form. You know what? Yep. Okay. This is a declaration, not an initialization. Um, no. This is not what I'm looking for. Right? It's like telling me to manually initialize it. I don't even know how long this array is. Oh my word. I hate using old languages sometimes. So I have to use this. It's not a built-in thing. It's from the separate, anyway. I guess I could also use a vector, which might be more appropriate here. Vector is a C++ container. Whoops. Like so. Let's see if that works. What? Oh. Got to wait for Unreal to finish crashing, it looks like. Maybe? Oh, there it goes. Just took it a second. Okay. And so let's go ahead and build this. I wonder if there's a way to put an initializer in here. Don't know. So for reference, the reason we need to initialize this this array is because we are accessing the array before we put anything in it. And that's because we're using this for range loop. If we switch to a traditional for loop, where we did for int I is equal to 0, I is less than number of vertices dot length, I plus plus, then we could serialize into the vector, and that would be an initializer. Um, hmm. Which we might actually switch to. It's just the old for loop syntax is. It's been a long time since I've used the old for loop syntax. There's good reasons for that. It's just it's hard to read, and it's easy to make mistakes. And off by one errors happen everywhere in the old for loop syntax. So it can be better to use range loops to avoid that. In fact, many newer languages, even low-level languages, only include range-based for loops. Let's go ahead and try it. For int I 0, then dot length. Like so. And then this can be our initialization. It's theoretically more performant. So here's a weird thing about C++ that I'm reading. There is a normal array, the C-style array, and then there's a standard array as well that's different. Which is okay, interesting, very interesting choice. There's so much of C++ that's held back by C, and but at the same time, so often that was a good thing. Like the C++ people were a little bit out there, to say the least. I'm gonna get a failed to locate. Let me fix that. Okay. We are launching. Okay. is friendly value semantics. That might be useful. Yeah, we might switch this to a standard array. Okay. In this case, it looks like a standard array is perfectly fine. Unlike some other C++ types I could mention. All right. Let's make sure everything's set up correctly in graph. Yep. And shoot, crashed again. Why did I crash this time? Segfault at 69. What? Segfault at 69. Am I incorrect in thinking that this is weird? Okay. I was thinking that this would work as an initialization. But can I not pass? I suppose I can't pass the reference before I've initialized it? That's really annoying. It's also really annoying that serialize takes in something to place the serialized thing into instead of just returning the thing. Yeah. Seems like, I suppose that would be kind of hard to do with the, because you have to know the type of the thing, but anyway. Okay. It still crashes. What? Now I'm actually confused. It crashes at 69 still? What? This is your initialization. What? Why would it crash here? Right? I'm doing literally this. Right here. Unless I went past the end of the array? That doesn't make sense. No, it's not it. I mean, we'll leave it there just in case I'm insane, but we did not go past the end of the array here. We did 2 number of vertices and we're less than. Still crashing. Why is this crashing? 67. 67. What? Why won't it fill the... Okay. I don't really know how to use vector. We're about to find out. Hmm? Can I give it a length hint? Okay. Let's see what this does. We might want to switch this to an iterator. Uh, okay. Wait. Where's my segfault? What just happened? I'm not getting a segfault. Right, this crashed. Clearly. No, wait. It didn't crash. It's not clear that it crashed. What's going on? No, it's crashed. I can still switch windows sometimes, but it's not. Okay. Ah. Well, that tells me what happened. Requested read of 24 bytes when 20 bytes remain in level RDL. So it means we're getting the wrong size. The wrong number of vertices is wrong. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's comment this section out for now. Yeah, it's not responding. Ooh. Wouldn't have you stop it. Hard kill. Come on. There we go. These are eyes. But this top one is a character. I don't know if that works or not. Da, da, da. Weird. Like, how does this work? So the official documentation of different formatting that I'm using, it doesn't mention the kind of formatting that I am using, and so I'm very confused. Like, it also doesn't show any examples. That's not helpful. Text formatting. Format placeholders are contained with a pair of curly braces and can be numbers or strings. Format placeholders can also specify a function called an argument modifier. What? Okay. Oh, lovely. C expects tchar. What's a tchar? Okay. Text generation. No. It's not it. So they use these in sections that don't have anything to do about generating text. Thanks, Unreal. That's not helpful. Okay, so no, no nothing. What? That's not right. What? I'm so confused. Right, I just have a plain archive here, right? Yeah. No idea. I have no clue what this is returning. Um, Other than some derivative of farchive. Is there a go to implementation? Thank you. Did not find any implementations. There it goes. Oh, thanks. Okay. Return new farchive file reader generic. Oh, there we go. Seek position. Okay, looks fine. So let's go ahead and pull this up with our hex editor. So what? So we have version 0 integers way too many. What? Are these maybe smaller ints? Are these like 16s? That's kind of getting too small. Maybe. Well, let's take a look. It says size event. And it says 4 bytes. And my 4 bytes says a stupid high number. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our level signature, and then we have sign bit 1. That's our level version, and then signature version, and then offset. Version is an integer. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then our first offset, 20. And then our next offset, and then our next offset, and then our version, and then our int. But our integer is 1.8, sorry, is 18 million. What am I missing here? Right, it's not like it's a different encoding. What? I am very confused. Oh, okay. We are supposed to use the load mine data compiled new function, not the old one. There's our shorts. This still doesn't make sense. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Um, what's a fix exactly? Remind me. It's all long. Um, bytes is a long. What? I'm so confused. Uh, why is it called long if it's the same size of an integer? Right? This is a 32-bit program. What? What's why? You're gonna just mess with my head here. Okay. This still is confusing because okay, so we got a short and a short, and then a long. What's this number about? Um, do these have the opposite encoding? This is still a huge number. So I'm looking at the signed 16 bits here, and they seem to be sensible. Right? Which makes me suspicious. Particularly because these look like 16-bit numbers. I don't understand how they're 16-bit numbers, though. Wait, what? I'm actually questioning. Do these actually look like 16-bit numbers? So this would, let's go back to here. So this is 0, 10. This is negative 10? Yeah, okay. 0, 10, 0. 10, 0, negative 10. 0, 10, 0. No. Right? Because now we have two vertices in the same place. That can happen, though. Right? This can... That can happen with modern systems. I'm not sure if it can happen with older systems. That's weird. Okay, so let's go ahead and start by changing our can I specify this as an int 16, please? Apparently not, because I can't type. There we go, int 16. Just so we aren't confusing everybody with using these stupid short and long stuff names. Okay. I think we can uncomment these. Let's go ahead and give this a compile. close this. Huh. Okay. All right. All right, all right, all right. You see my concern on that vertex. That is not where we expect that vertex to be. That's not right. Nuh-uh. Oh, I know what's going on. I know what's going on. Okay. Let's go back to our hex editor. We are looking at these like this is some sort of signed 32-bit integer, right? No. This is a 16-bit, so that's signed 16-bit right here. This is 16-bit integer and then a 16-bit decimal, right? So this is 0.10, maybe? 1/10, maybe? I don't know. 0.10. This is 0 point something, right? Okay, so we need to figure out how to handle those correctly, right? Because what does it all look like? Which means our float conversions are wrong, basically. So what do we look like? Let's go ahead and remove this. Let's go over here. Let's look at our VMS vector. It's a fix of XYZ. Sure. What's our fix? We have type depth this as long. That's a problem because we're compiling on a 64-bit system. So we don't know, I don't know off the top of my head whether Unreal's compiling is 32-bit or 64-bit. So let's do specifically an int 32. A fix is an int 32, 16 bits integer, 16 bits of fraction. There's a start. Int to a fix. Get the int part of a fix. F2L F float F over 6,000 float to fix times. That Mentessa seems odd. Okay. So that might help some. That might help a lot. Yeah, let's give that a shot. And if this doesn't work, then we can start thinking about reading it differently. Might want to try getting the int part of the fix. And that should give us lots of zeros. We'll see. So I find it really interesting that it appears Descent was representing all of their stuff as a fixed point number. Um, yeah, it's really interesting. Theoretically, that's better for networking, but it's not necessarily better for storage. I suppose what it is better for is portability. So when Descent was first released, I mean, when was Descent's release date? Early 90s? 1994. So at the point of or 95, it's a little unclear. At that point, assuming that all of your platforms had implemented floats the same way, it was probably not a good assumption. So that's probably why they did that. Would you look at that? Unreal is a 64-bit application. Don't use longs. Or rather, if you are using a long, know why you're using it and how it works. If you're not using a long, utilize, or if you aren't intending to utilize a dynamically sizing variable, use an int and specify the bits. For example, in this case, int 32. And ta-da, we have a fixed point vertice array. All right. So now that we have our fixed point vertex array, we probably want to do the same for segments. Before we do segments, let's make sure that our segments and our sides don't have any, well, they've got a lot of shorts in them. So we're going to change all of our shorts to int 16. Right, let's be specific and clear and obvious. There we go. Let's check the UVLs. UVLs are also fixes, and we just fixed our fixes. Okay. That's fine by me. Version gave just a blank, so clearly we weren't quite doing that right, but okay. All right, so now we've corrected that, right? So this is side, byte, fix, and a bunch of N16s. Or N16, sorry. So we should be able to pretty safely go ahead and make a what did you grab onto there? Not a VMS vector. This is a segment. VMS vector of so standard vector of segments, number of segments. Sure. I am concerned. No, I'm not. Great. Hey. Our vertices are an int16 array. Ooh, that's fancy. Okay, so I is equal to 0. I is less than number of segments. Pretty sure that's correct. Plus plus I. I don't actually think we need this anymore. We're going to go ahead and delete it and see what happens. We might get a segfold again. I hope not. Segments I, size of segment. Save. Sure. Huh. I don't think this is going to work. Huh. Didn't crash though. We are getting a good last vertex now, but we are attempting to overread the file because segments are weird. Okay. So if we head into our mine loader, you'll notice we are loading the segment bit by bit, right? And my thought here is that, oh yeah, because we got all sorts of if-else statements and stuff like that in there. So it's going to change. So how our segments are saved is going to change based off of some things that we're loading, which is going to make them larger or smaller. They're dynamic size, which is very interesting. So if you look into loading files, generally you really do not want dynamic sizes. The more dynamic sizes you have, the longer a file takes to load, just period, right? So this is pretty fast because we are loading all of the same size. It can be made crazy fast because we are loading all of the same size. Technically, we could serialize. Okay, this is an insane thought. This doesn't work for vectors, but you could, instead of serializing inside the loop here, you could instead say vertices equals file reader, or I suppose this because of how file reader works. So this would be file reader serialize, and what we would do is go vertices, the whole array, and size of VMS vector times, how do I do that? Times num vertices. Right? If you do this correctly with a little bit of pointer math, you can serialize all of it at once. Just, it's incredibly fast. A single call, and if this is well optimized, that single call means it's just copying a ton of data into one other place. Yeah, it's way faster. We aren't going to do that because that requires a bunch of pointer math to get right, and I don't want to do that, particularly in C++. So we are going to delete this and do it the slower way because descent files are not large enough to be a huge problem with that. Not on modern hardware. And it makes me wonder if loading times were a problem back in the day. I don't remember them being a problem, but I barely remember Descent 2. Descent 1, I was 3 years old, 4 years old when it came out, so I don't remember that at all. Okay. Anyway, so they apparently felt that um, disk size was more important than read speed, or they had some problems with versioning. In fact, that's probably also what they have. They don't have any padding in this, right? So if you have versioning or something, you might do like an int 64 padding, right? And then as you changed your versions and stuff, you could add new stuff into your segment without changing the size of it. So you could have oh, I forgot that we need an int 32 brightness, and then change our padding to an int 32, and now we haven't changed the size of the segment, and we can insert a segment as specific size. So that would enable us to load things very quickly with versioning. And you probably want to use much larger things for padding. But nonetheless, if this is your first time building something like this, you might not realize you need versioning. You might not add the padding. So now you have to write much more complex importer functions and stuff like that. Yeah. And now we have to write much more complex importer functions. Let's see here. What is it? 2024? 30 years later. 20 years later? 30 years later. We have to write more complex importer functions because your versioning doesn't work very well. Of course, that would also increase your size on disk considerably. Okay. So, we've got some other things to make here. Okay, so we want to serialize would serialize to bit mask the size of bit mask. They do size of U byte, but bit mask is a U byte. That makes more sense to me. All right, so this is some binary arithmetic. Oops. Um, if bit mask. All right, bitwise operators. Whoops. The and takes two numbers and does an and on every bit of the two numbers. The result is and 1 only if both bits are 1. Takes in two numbers and left shifts the bits of the first operand and the second operand, decides the number of places to shift. Uh, if bit mask and 1 shifted left by bit, what? Children in int 16. It's, sorry, it is 6 int 16s. Oh, bit is, oh. Bit is not a bit. I'm going to change this to J because that will make me understand what's happening here so much better. So, 1 shifted by J. Basically, if there's a 1 in the position in the bit mask, then we do the import. I think that's what's happening. Huh. File reader, serialize, reference to segments, I dot children J size of int 16. Else segments I dot children J equals -1. Okay. So sometimes we read in children and sometimes we don't. And then every time we read in verts segments I dot verts oh So you'll notice segments I dot verts is not. Huh. So we're running into a problem here. Might get the same initialization errors that we got before. Huh? I really don't know if that's going to work. But we'll give it a shot. Basically, we're trying to serialize this whole array at once. Don't know if that works. It might. There's a good chance that it'll work, actually. I'd want some sort of assertion here that the length of this is not longer than the length of this. But not quite certain how to do that off the top. I'm a little confused what we're doing here because max size per segment doesn't change. Oh, wait, but bitmask changes. Okay. So I think max size per segment is 6. I thought it was 8. Nope, that makes sense. Vertices is 8, sides is 6. It's a cube. So if the 6th position of the so we just did 0 through 5, and now we're doing 6. Okay. So if the 6 positions of the bit mask is 1, then we serialize special. As an unsigned byte. What? What are you talking about? Cannot convert ubyte to type void. Oh, derp. Pass by reference. And then we read in mat center num. Also a ubyte. And value. Oh, that's very descriptive. An int 16. Else we initialize those. Okay. And then then we have a weird one. Okay. Uh, this one's very weird to me. So now we do segments I dot static light is equal to a fix. Whoops. I am confused as to the parentheses here. Fix of static light shift 4. Basically, we are assigning the integer portion of our fixed point, our fixed point type. So, but why? Like, unless I'm completely missing how static light is used here, why are we converting this to a decimal representation instead of just leaving it as an integer representation if we're loading it in as an integer? Not certain. And that's the reason I was confused by this whole thing, is because this was casting differently than I was expecting. Huh? Complains about C-style casting, and then go and look it up, and that apparently is how you're supposed to do it? Okay. Weird. The only other way to do it is implicit casting. I don't want to implicitly cast. Readability is important. Whoops. Okay. Static light is added. Whoa. J equals 0. J is less than max sides per segment. J plus plus. Segments I dot sides J dot pad equals 0. Okay. It's a little bit funky. And then we read in a new bit mask. It might be a good idea to even change the variable names. it's not like we have a problem with memory. That'll just make it easier to read, hopefully. Serialize. This is okay. You'll notice that this for loop looks familiar, and we didn't actually do any serialization in the previous for loop, so we're going to pull that down into here. Oh, that's a touch confusing. Serialize, we're going to go ahead and read in that wall number. Oh, I think I understand why they did this. This is a readability thing. I do wish, well, actually, I do wish you would yell at me if I did that. Alright, so I could give the size, and yeah. If the size is greater than what will fit in this, it should yell at me. If it's less than, it shouldn't have a problem. Okay. Oops. All right. Why? Oh, no, there's a serialize in here. We have to do it this way. Okay. There's another for loop that looks identical to the first for loop. But if we do this out of order, it's going to crash things. Because it's important that we serialize in the right order. So we need to first serialize the max number of sides, and then we need to start. So we need to first serialize the wall numbers. Then we need to serialize the side numbers. Yep. I want to keep working on this a little while longer. We've kind of reached the end of my scheduled time, but I want to keep working on this a little while longer. See if I can't pull in the segments at least. But I do need to take a quick break here, so I will be right back. Mm-hmm. Alrighty then. I am back. Let's see here. We are going to then. Where are we? Okay, this is not closed. Then I say take it. Okay. So. Oh, segments. I. Children. J. Equals -1. Or. Segments. I dot. Children. J dot. Walnum. Or not children. Dot sides. Sides J. Huh. Okay. It's a little funky. We're using the same index for different arrays. All right, so these parentheses are redundant. Let's go ahead and space this out a little bit. There we go. So if there are no children segments, or there is not a wall segment, wait, there are no children segments, or there is a wall segment. Huh, that's funky. So no children segments, but there is a wall segment. Then we read heh. int 16 tmap. Okay, we're going to read in the segments I dot whoa. No, we're going to read into tmap. And it's going to be and it's going to be int 16. Okay. And then we are going to see that segments I dot sides j dot tmap num equals tmap and some unknown hexadecimal number. Okay. Oh, that's so weird. Um, that's more relevant. So basically, what? I don't get what we're doing. That's just going to return tmap, right? Tmap, and so like, let's do this. Right? If we go ahead and do our binary arithmetic, we get 1 1 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 0 1 0 0 1. Right? That's just going to return tmap. Why did we do that? Weirdness. Okay. For reference, for those of you who might be confused as to why I'm going, why on earth did I do that after something I just typed? I'm utilizing the original descent to source code to do this. Okay, this one does something interesting. If the first character, if not the first character in tmap is 1, then no idea what these tmap numbers do. Texture map. Oh. Sorry. File reader. Serialize. Okay. Reference to segments, I, sides, J, tmap number 2. Size of int 16. Okay. All right. So, okay. Check for a second texture. If we have a second texture, then we serialize it in. I think. It could be something else. I think that's what happened. Yeah. Equal to 0. k is less than or equal, or just less than 4, k plus plus, and then this is reading our UVs. This is very funky. UVL file reader serialize U int 16 UVL. We probably want to adjust this. Okay. All right. Whoa. Huh. Weird. Shifting by 5 is also super weird. That's actually concerning. Okay. Oh. Really? Okay. This is not pretty. This if statement is very long. Um Then we want to initialize it directly. Okay. Okay. I want to know if I had any seg faults or anything. And if we build, because this is all the segments, I think. Hot reload started. Or if we run out of file. That could also be a problem. Although it occurs to me that if we run out of file, we've seriously messed something up because we still have game data and hostage text after this. So, Speaking of hostage text, that makes me wonder. Hmm. Hmm? Version number. Okay. Version number is full. 2437, 6,600, or 63,697. 6,300, 697. Go. Huh. Huh. Okay, that exists. Huh. Close. Anyway. Anyway, we now want to go ahead and run the utility widget and hit the thing. And no overflow, no seg fault. We're looking good. Okay, we've pulled in all of the segments and all of the we've pulled in all the vertices and all the segments, which probably means we can start assembling static meshes. I don't know how to get textures on them yet, or rather, I don't know where the textures are yet, because they might be in game data, but I don't think so. I think they're probably in the pig file somewhere. Okay. Wait, unless... No, I think they're in pig somewhere. Okay. I think we're going to end it there for tonight. And then tomorrow we'll get started on pulling on constructing static message from meshes from our segments. I could have sworn that there was a bunch of stuff. We validate the segments. We activate fuel centers. We reset objects. Load mine data, load game data, load hostage data, close the file, and return. That's weird. I'm certain I found some stuff on building segments. I'll have to find it. All right. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful night.